tomorrow we're going to talk about the old devil in a little bit. He's in all kinds of religion. The devil is very prominent. The devil is very prominent. Well, we're in the book of Bereshith, beginnings. 30 and verse 21. 30 and verse 21. Genesis 30 and verse 21. Last week it was the cat fights and aphrodisiacs. That was the name of the message. And that's exactly what it was all about. Those girls were fighting over Jacob. And well, we're still fighting this week. We haven't stopped the cat fights yet, but we're going to get on down the road here. We achar. Yalida. Bat. Watikra. Et. Sima. Dinah. All right. And afterwards, following. That's what that word means. Afterwards or following. And is the we in the front of it. That's an and or a conjunction, and then afterwards. And following, she birthed. Okay? She birthed. Third person, feminine, singular, cal, perfect. She birthed a daughter. Daughter. Bet is daughter, Ben is son. Ben is son, and Bet is daughter. All right? And she called Wayikra, Watigra, that is, Watigra, she called Et Shema Dinah. Dinah. Now remember what Dinah means? Dinah. What is a masculine for Dinah? Dan. All right. Dinah means judge. It means to maintain a cause, to plead a cause. It means legal strife. It means lawsuit. And, of course, this is feminine for Dan. So we've got another girl on the scene. Zebulun was born, and now Dinah is born. And that's Leah's seventh child. Her seventh child. She is very fertile. And as I said before, God always watches after the underdogs. He always watches after the underdogs, and she was. She loved her husband just as much as Rachel, but Jacob didn't want anything but Rachel. That's what he wanted, but he ended up with 4 wives instead of 1. He bargained for 1 and ended up with 4, and cat fights, as we saw last week. Wayizkar, Elohim, Et, Rachel, Wayishma, Eliha, Elohim, Wayish, Hat, Et, Ramah. All right. And he remembered Elohim, Rachel. And he listened unto her. All right. And he listened unto her, Elohim. And Elohim in Greek would be what? What would be the equivalent to that? Elohim, that's the easy one. You know what the equivalent to that would be in Greek? Theos. We got a word theology out of that. Theos. Very easy. Theos. Elohim equals Theos. All right? Simple. Now, not all the names of God go that simple. Okay? Not all the names of God go like that. And we're going to see some of that a little bit later on. We'll have to see that sometimes it has to be explained. And sometimes in Hebrew, there is no explanation in Greek or in English, but it has to be explained. All right? The name Jehovah, what is the equivalent of that in Greek? Huh? Well, Jehovah Jireh, that's a Jehovah title. But what, Brother? What? Well, he is Christos. Jehovah. There it is. All right. Jehovah comes from the Hebrew verb, which means it's what? Haya. All right? It means to become. Just think about that for a minute. The word Jehovah means he who shall become. He who shall become. In John 1:14, of course, in John 1:1, we have in beginnings, kept on being the Jehovah, or the Word. It's talking about Jehovah there. That's who it was. And Jehovah kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. He was inseparable because he's God. Because he kept on being God. That's John 1:1. And that's a Greek translation for you. Then John 1:14 says, Kai hologo sarx agenito. And the Word, the Jehovah, sarx, flesh, Hebrew is basar, agenito. That's it, agenito. Agenito means he became. There you are. He became. Jehovah means he who shall become, and in John 1:14 is the fulfillment of the Jehovah title. The Word, the Jehovah, hologos, kai hologos, sarx, agenito, and the Jehovah, flesh, he became. How many people that was straightened out in Jehovah's Witness? The Jehovah's Witness can't get past John 1:1 and John 1:14. It's over. The argument is over. Well, it don't make no difference. You're not going to get past it. It's done. The argument is done. John 1:18 finishes it off thoroughly. John 1:18. John 1:1. Let's look at that. In beginning kept on being the Jehovah, and the Jehovah kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead, because the Godhead kept on being Jehovah. That's how it should be translated. And then it says in John 1:14, and the Jehovah flesh he became. There is your equivalent in English for the word Jehovah. The flesh he became. Third person singular aorist, indicative middle voice. He came into existence himself. He brought himself into existence, middle voice. All right? Like Hithel in Hebrew. Okay? And the word flesh he became, and the Jehovah flesh he became, and he pitched his tent right in the middle of us. And we beheld the glory of him, the glory of the only generated from beside the Father, full of grace and truth. And then John 1:18, it says, no God, no man has seen, no never. The only begotten God, still God, still Jehovah. All right, the only begotten God, or Jehovah, the one being inseparable in the bosom of the Father, that one has led himself out. That's what it says. And that's in the middle voice. All right? Elohim. We got that from Elohim. Okay? Elohim should be translated theos. It's very easy. But the word Jehovah, it means he who shall become, so it's agenito. And John 1:14, it says, Kai hologo sarx agenito. And the Jehovah flesh he became. The Jehovah title was fulfilled there. No Jehovah Witness can get past those verses. You make them eat them. You're up their nose in them. Forever. And of course the whole book of Revelation does the same thing. And the Word. And then we looked last week, I think it was, in the 19th chapter of the book of Revelation where it says, Ha-Adonai, it says the Adonai Ha-Adonai, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And of course it said that his name was the Word of God. Jehovah. Jehovah. And remembered Elohim Rachel. See that sign of the direct object there, extension or limitation of thought or verbal action is the equivalent of it in Greek, which is ace. And he kept on listening unto her, Elohim, and he opened her womb, Ramah. 30 and verse 23 now. 30 and verse 23. Wat tahar, wat talet, ben, wat tomar, Asaf, Elohim, et Cherati. And she caught seed and kept it. That's what it literally says. That's what it means. All right. She caught seed and kept it. And she birthed a live birth. That's what that means. She birthed a live birth, and the birth kept on being alive. And what is the Greek equivalent to that, this live birth? Technos. We get the word technology from that. Technically, it's a live birth, okay? All right. Birthed a son. And the word son means what? According to a pattern. According to a pattern. And daughter means according to a pattern too, because it's Bet. All right. Watomer, and she said, and that comes from Amer, and she said and kept on saying. She was singing a song. And she kept on saying this over and over again. Remember those girls, how they get up, last week we talked about them getting up on the street corner, up on a high rock and said, Jehovah has remembered me. God likes me better than he does her. All this stuff, you know, they're crowing. He has removed. Aseph, he has removed. Third person masculine singular, Cal perfect. Elohim. Et, sign of the direct object. My reproach. My reproach. Rachel gives birth and is happy, happy, happy. Happy, happy, happy. And by the way, as far as Jacob's concerned, this is the only son he owns. This is it. Jacob's his son. This is the one that he wanted. This is the woman that he wanted. This is the child he wanted. All the rest of them are extra. This is it. And he loves him beyond everyone else. And that's kind of hard on kids. But he did. This is the woman he loved. This is the child of his love. This is his love child. This is it. This is the one he wanted. This is the one he bargained 7 years for. And it said he worked, and it was as if it was a few days. Remember? Watikra. Et Shemo Yosef. Lemor Yosef Tavar. Now that's what we're going to call that word, because that means word. Jehovah means word. Okay? Hadavar, the word. And in John 1:1 it says, in the beginning was the Jehovah, or Hadavar, or the word. That's exactly what we're talking about right here. John 1:14, Ageneto. And Jehovah, the one who shall become, became. Davar, Li, Ben, Acher. All right, and she called name. She called name. The word name there, it's page 1027 and 28 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs. It means monument. It means pillar. It means name. It means fame also. All right? Your name is what gives you fame or infamy. One or the other. You become infamous by name or famous by name. One or the other. Of course, we know Joseph. Yosef. Yosef. Say Yosef. Yosef. Joseph saying, Lemor, may add, may increase. That's what Joseph means. It means decrease, to multiply. Just think about it. It means to increase, to multiply, to add, to become rich. That's what Joseph means, to become rich. Jehovah, to me. All right? The word, to me. A son, another. That one, achere, or archer, it means one following. All right, one following. Rachel's womb was open, and she knew that Jehovah had mercy upon her. 30 and verse 25. Wahi, Ka'asher, Yalida. See, it's not so hard, this Hebrew, is it? You just say it fast. Rachel. And Marilyn. After 6 years, you came into the classroom one time and you said, I can read this, when she was talking about Greek. She never studied a word of it at home. And she could read Greek. And if you stay in this 6 years, you will read Hebrew, just like that. And you will read Greek. You just get exposed to it for 6 years and you will learn it. And you won't know what happened. You just learned it because you were exposed to it. All right. Rachel, et Yosef, Wayomer, Yaakov, El Laban, Shalehene, We Elika, El Makomi, Yule Atsi. That's on the next page. Wahi, and became. Now look at that word right here. This word here, the root of this word is Haya. Became. All right? And became when she had birth, Ka-Asher, when she had birth. That comes from ki, by the way, in Asher. That word there is made up between two words, ki and Asher. Ka-Asher. She had brought forth and birthed a live birth. Rachel, Joseph. And he said, Jacob unto Laban. What's a Laban mean? Whitey. What's Jacob mean? One who follows the heel. One who follows the heel. Send me away. Send me away. And look at that word there, send me away. It means shoot me. Like taking a gun and shooting a bullet. Like taking an arrow and shooting an arrow, or slinging a stone. That's what he says. And what tense is it in? In the PL tense. PL is with great intensity. He said, run me off. Send me out of here. Shoot me back toward my house. Shoot me back home. All right? Send me away. That word shalak means to shoot. Masculine and singular PL imperative. And he says in the imperative mode, that's a mode of command. And allow me to walk. Allow me to walk. First person construct called cohortive. Allow me to walk unto place, Mikoma, unto my place, and to my land, Eule Artsi. That comes from Aretz. All right, Eule Artsi, and to my land, my country, Artsi. 30 and verse 26 now. Tina, et, Nashe, Wiet, Yilade, Asher, Avoti, Otika. I had an aunt named Otika one time. That's the Indian word. Chickasaw. Behen, We Elika, Ki, Ata, Yadata, Et, Abodati, Asher, Abodatika. All right. Now, we're not going to get much further than this one tonight. I'm going to tell you, we're going to get to the next verse because the next one is a great big explosion. In the original language, sometimes things just jump out and grab you. And we're going to see that in just a minute. Tina means to give. Masculine singular cowl imperative. Give my wives. Give me my wives is what he's saying. And sign a direct object. And my children, my birthed ones, which I have served you for them, and allow me go, allow me to walk, allow me to walk. Genesis 30 and verse 26, Genesis 30, 26, and allow me to walk because you have known, you have thoroughly understood, and you have known, Yadati, you have known my service, my slaving. He slaved, which I have slaved or I have served for you. Now is the big explosion. The next verse. You don't see it here so much in English. All right? We'll read that in the Hebrew first. And then we're going to go to other verses so we can understand it. Because this one's got a lot of dynamite in it. Dynamis. The word dynamite comes from the Greek word dynamis, right? Says to see how it just comes right. That means powerful. Okay, a lot of power in it. Wayomer, Elah, Laban, Nah, Masatsi, Ken, Be'enika, Nichashti. Say that, Nichashti. Waiva Rakenu. Rakene. Davar. Big Lalika. All right. This is quite a word. And he said and kept on saying unto Laban, if I please, if I beg you, if please, I have found favor, that's can. The word for in Greek, that word is charis, which means grace. Grace. Or saved by grace. That's the word right there. Okay? If I have found grace or favor in your eye, be'anika, and then we have a word here. The root of that word is nahash. 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 Let's go back to the book of Genesis. Okay? We're in the book of Genesis. Let's go back a little further in the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And the woman said, Vina hashishiani. I forgot my Hebrew Bible, the other one, but I got enough here to do it. 3. And the Nahash. And the Nahash became more crafty, more subtle, more deceitful, more foxy, more naked, more profane. That's all in that word right there. Than any of the beasts of the Shaddai of the field, which Jehovah Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, indeed has God said, you shall not eat from any tree of the garden. And the woman said to Nahash, from the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but from the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat or touch it unless you die. And the Nahash said to the woman, you surely shall not die. For God knows that in the day that you eat from it, your eyes shall be opened, and you will be like gods. You will be like gods, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and the tree was desirable to make one wise, and she took from its fruit, and she ate, and she kept on eating, and she kept on giving to her husband with her, and he kept on eating, 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 and he kept on eating. That's what it says in Hebrew. Then the eyes of them both became opened, and they knew that they became naked. They became naked. They became aron. They became deceitful. They became profane. They became naked. They became deceitful. They became thieves. They became foxy. They became lewd. That's what all is in that term right there. And the eyes of them both opened, and they knew that they had become naked and foxy and profane and wicked. And they sewed the fig leaves together, and they made themselves aprons, loin coverings. And they heard the sound of Jehovah Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord among the trees of the garden. Then the Lord God called to the man and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I became afraid, because I had become naked. I had become deceitful. I had become dishonest. I had become a thief. And I hid myself. Do you see how much difference it makes in Hebrew than it does in the English? Okay, it's a lot. And he said to him, who told you that you were naked? And you had eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat. And the man said, the woman, the woman, the woman. Yeah, he kept on saying the woman. He kept on saying the woman. He kept on saying the woman. The woman, the woman, the woman. Whom you gave to me. She gave to me from the tree, and I ate. And the Lord said to the woman, what is this that you have done? And she said, we nahashishiani. The serpent gave to me. The serpent gave to me. The serpent deceived me, and I ate. And the Lord God said to the Nahash, cursed you are above from all the cattle, way above and beyond, and more than every beast of the field, and upon your belly you shall walk, and in the dust of the ground you shall eat your food all the days of your life. And I will put active hatred, this is the first promise of the Messiah right here, and I will put active hatred between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, and he shall bruise you with a deadly blow as to the head, and you shall bruise him as to the heel. And to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth, and in pain you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband. Boy, wasn't that what's going on over here in the last few verses? The women were fighting over him. They were fighting over Jacob. And he shall rule over you. Now let's go on a little further. Now let's go to Acts the 16th chapter and verse 16. Acts the 16th chapter and verse 16. In the New Testament. Heikaine diatheke. Okay? Heikaine diatheke. Do you like this? We haven't even said what's going on here yet. We're going to get ready to open the door pretty soon. We're going to see what's in the room. We're going to open all the windows and open the door. Acts 16 and 16. And it happened. Here we got the Apostle Paul in Macedonia, all right? And he's walking around, and it's in Philippi. And then it says here that he came upon, in verse 16, it happened that they were going to the place of prayer, and a certain slave girl, having been possessed by a spirit of Pithona. We got something in Pithona. Pithona. That one doesn't write very well. Pithona. What word in English do you think we have that comes from that word? Huh? What word might come from Pithona? We have a word in English that comes right out of this, a big snake. A python. Pithona, the great snake. In Hebrew it would be Nahash. Say that one. Nahash. Nahash. I used to get the little kids. I used to teach right in front of the church and taught junior church, and we'd go down on their level and we'd do this, and they love to learn these words. Nahash. That comes from your throat. Because Nahash means to whisper. To whisper. To whisper. To deceive. It means all of those things. It means to whisper in your ear like a conscience. Like the old devil, when you see something and you're on a diet and you see chocolate. And you hear in your ears, chocolate. You see all of this, okay? Following her masters, she has a spirit of a Pithona. She met us and was bringing her masters much profit by fortune telling, by soothsaying. How would it happen? What would happen here? Well, this happened many times in the ancient world. Happened back in the book of Kings. Happened back there. what would happen is that the spirit of a demon would possess a person, okay? And that the person would talk to her masters, and she would speak to them in an unintelligible language to everybody else, but they would understand what she meant, and they would say where Uncle George had planted his gold, and he died without telling where his money was, or what if you're supposed to buy a piece of land, or whatever, should I do this, should I do that, or where was this, or where is my Uncle George, or Pete, or whatever, where is he now? We've lost contact of him, we don't know where he is he alive or dead? And she'd tell what was going on. Now let's go to 1 Kings. 1 Kings. 1 Kings, the 18th chapter. We are up on Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel. Okay? Mount Carmel. Here's Elijah, and he's got old Ahab by the ear. And it came about when Ahab saw Elijah that Ahab said to him, "You snake." That's what he said to him. "You Nahash. You snake. You deceiver." He called him a deceiver, a snake, a serpent. It's you, that one, the serpent of Israel. Here we have a man that is so wicked. Ahab was probably the epitome of all wickedness in the Bible, and he's saying that Elijah is wicked. What a joke. And he said, "I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house have, because you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and you have followed the Baals," and that's the false gods. Okay? These Baals. "And now then send and gather to me all of Israel at Mount Carmel, and together with 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table." His wife was feeding all these rats, all these false prophets. "And Ahab sent a message among all the sons of Israel and brought the prophets together at Mount Carmel. And Elijah came near to all the people and said to them, How long will you hesitate between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, and if Baal, follow him." But the people did not answer him a word. He's quoting, by the way, back in Joshua. Remember when Joshua said, "How long will you halt? How long will you limp between two positions? Follow the Lord." And Elijah said to people, "I alone am left, the prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450. Now let them give us 2 oxen, and let them choose 1 ox for themselves and cut it up and place it on wood, but put no fire on it. And I will prepare another ox and lay it on wood, and I will not put fire under it. And you will call on the name of your gods," little gods, "on the name of your Baal, and I will call upon the name of Jehovah, and the God who answers by fire, he is God." And all the people said, "This is a real good idea." Sounds practical, doesn't it? This is the great, I've been there where that was. Have you been over there, Brother Euless? You've been over there in that land over there? Right up on that mountain where all that contest over there, right out, not too far from Tel Aviv. "So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose 1 ox for yourselves and prepare it first, for you are many, and call upon the name of your God and put no fire under it." Then they took the ox which was given to them, and they prepared it and called upon the name of Baal from morning until evening. "O Baal, answer us." And there was no voice, and no one answered, and they leaped, and they were temporarily insane. And they leaped, and they danced, and they squalled, and they bawled all around the altar. In Greek, it says they were in mantuomene. They were in temporary madness. And they were speaking to the demons in the demons' language. Okay? That's exactly what it's talking about. "So they cried with a loud voice, and they kept on cutting themselves according to the custom, with swords and with lances, until blood gushed out all over them. And it came about at midday, it passed, that they continued to rave," mantuomene. They kept on raving in their demonic languages. And that's what the woman in Acts 16:16 was doing. All right? Same thing. These were fortune tellers. until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, and there was no voice, not one, no one answered, and no one paid attention. 1 Samuel, 28th chapter. 1 Samuel, chapter 28. We'll hold our place here now, but we're going to go over there in 1 Samuel 28. We're going to see another soothsayer, another Nahash, one that deals with a Nahash. Okay. And Samuel was dead, 28 and verse 3. And Samuel was dead, and all Israel landed and buried him in Ramah, his own city, and Saul removed from the land those who were mediums, and these were the Nahash followers. This is who they were. This is the one, the diviners. The spiritists and the mediums. Satan. Man is triune, like God is triune. I may have to preach 2 hours tonight. Man is triune like God is triune. Man is body, he is soul, and he is spirit. The spirit that you're born with, the spirit of rebellion, it leads you astray all your life. When you're born again, that spirit is kicked out, and Spirit God comes into you. Okay? God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There aren't 3 gods or 1 God. You have to remember that. Because how many of you are there? We're triune. There's only one of us. All right? Now, in the angelic world, in the spirit world, when Satan rebelled in Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14, he took with him 1/3 of the spiritual realm and 1/3 of the angelic realm. 2 different realms. And there are 3 archangels, we believe. Lucifer, Michael, okay, and Gabriel. Who is over the information realm? Information. Who takes messages? Gabriel. This is where you get messages. Right there. Now, in the angels, they have form. Demons and spirits, they seek to dwell in animal or human flesh. We know that. Well, Gabriel, there are angels, and there are spirits in this realm. And we're talking about the spirits in that realm tonight. Okay? The messenger realm. Now, Michael is over what? The spirit realm. Now, those are very powerful. Michael is the most powerful of all angels. And over the physical realm, who is over the physical material realm? Lucifer. Now, I don't think that all of Lucifer's angels follow him, because we have guardian angels, don't we? We have guardian angels. I got them, but I wore them out. Well, I believe probably maybe 1/3 of these went out. Okay? And 1/3 of these went out, and 1/3 of these went out. Okay? Making up the whole realm of all of it. In the spirit realm and in the angel realm. Now, the most powerful and the most meanest of the spirits, and the most powerful, and the ones that are in the bottomless pit, the Bible talks about in the book of Revelation, the bottomless pit, they are locked up in the bottomless pit, are the ones from Michael's realm that left and followed Lucifer, because they're very powerful. Now, the information realm, if you get a message from a realm, if you got a real legitimate fortune teller, they're getting message from this realm right here. The fallen side of this realm, not from the good side. From the fallen side. All right? And then, of course, the material realm is Lucifer. Now, 1/3 of these left. of the spirit and the angelic realm. Now, demons means little gods, supernatural beings, okay? And spirits are not fallen. They are good spirits. Spirits minister for God. Spirits. You have spirit in you. If you're saved, it's a born-again spirit of God, and that's the spirit that's leading you into all truth, okay? Leading you the right way. Demon spirits are wicked spirits, okay? In these we have poltergeist, spirits that move things. They don't have form, okay? They don't have form, but they move things. They're powerful. These are what we call supernatural beings. And this world is as real as the chairs you're sitting on and the table you're sitting in front of. It's real as the earth you walk on. It's real. It's what we call tangible, that which may be touched. Now, when the Lord dealt with you to bring you to salvation, did you feel the Spirit of God dealing with your heart? Yeah, it's a real one. Were you troubled? Did you want to ask the Lord to save you and forgive your sins? Yes. That's all in the spirit realm, but it was real, wasn't it? Real. The assurance of your salvation is real. We don't have the guarantee that we are going to be with God. We can't see that. Jacob, Isaac, Abraham, none of those ever had the land that God promised them. Did you know that? But they had the promise. We have a promise that we're going to be with God one of these days, and that's real promise. It's real. It's for real. Now, this is the realms that we're dealing with right now. They're real. Okay? Back in Samuel here now. Now we got Saul disguises himself. He told him to look for a medium, a Nahash, someone that's dealing with the spirit realm. Because we have God's realm with, preachers and prophets of God, but since he didn't have a prophet of God anymore, he started looking at a prophet of hell from the bottomless pit. The fallen spirits, the fallen angels, these are the ones. And Saul told his servant, seek for me a woman who is a medium, that I might go to her and inquire her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman who is a medium at Endor. Then Saul disguised him by putting on other clothes and went with the two men with him, and they came to the woman by night. Conjure up for me, please, and bring up for me whom I shall name to you. Remember over there in 1 Kings? They conjured up. They were talking to their demons. They were asking their demons to do this, but I tell you what, God had a squelch on them. He wasn't going to let them answer anything. Conjure up for me, please, and bring up for me whom I shall name to you, whom I shall say to you. And behold, the woman said, behold, you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off those who are mediums and spiritists from the land. And we talk about white witches. And we talk about people that are working with the sheriff's department and helping this and doing. These are I'm doing this by God. Baloney. No way. You want to talk to your dead uncle? If he got to heaven, you'll get there. If he went to hell, then if you're lost, you'll go there and you'll get to go to that same place. You won't get to communicate with him. But there's no way in the world you can talk to somebody. But spirits, demons, know everybody that ever lived. They can mimic your voice. They can do anything. They can. They know everything that ever happened on this earth. Everything that ever happened at any time. People sometimes think that they're Alexander the Great, or Genghis Khan, or Pope Paul, or somebody, And they will speak in their own language, every language that people ever said. You know what's going on there? If it's for real, it's coming from the spirit world, not from God. Why are you laying a snare, a trap for my life to bring about my death? And Saul vowed to her by the Lord. He swore to God, by God's name, saying, as the Lord lives, there shall be no punishment come upon you for this thing. And the woman said, whom shall I bring up from you? And he said, bring up Samuel for me. Now, God is going to overrule this little situation, just like he did up on Mount Carmel. This woman had powers with demon spirits. She knew, she was familiar. She had a friend in the spirit world. A demon friend. A demon friend. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman spoke to Saul, saying, "Why have you deceived me? For you are Saul." Right now, she knew this isn't the spirit that I'm dealing with. This is something different going on here. And the king said to her, "Do not be afraid, but what do you see?" Now, Saul didn't see it. Saul didn't see it. You know, when Samuel looked to Saul and talked to him the last time, he said, "You will never see me again." That's why he said, "You'll never see me again." He wasn't going to see him here either. And the woman said to Saul, "I see a divine being." A divine being. I see Elohim coming out of the earth. And he said to her, "What is his form?" And she said, "An old man coming up, and he's wrapped it with a robe." And Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed his face to the ground and did homage to him. He didn't see him, but he heard him. All right, he didn't see him, but he heard him. And Samuel said to Saul, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" Now this is Samuel. God sent him back. He disturbed him. Samuel goes back. And this woman knows that this is a divine being. This is one from God. Okay? God sent Samuel back for a job. Some people think maybe Samuel is one of the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. Did you know that? Because he came back here. All right? I don't know who they are, so don't ask me. I can tell you about 17 or 18 of them, okay? All of them are legitimate. And Samuel said to Saul, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" And Saul said, "I am greatly distressed, for the Philistines are waging war on me, and God has departed from me and answers me no more, either through prophets or by dreams. Therefore I have called you, that you may make known to me what should happen." And Samuel said, Why then do you ask me, since the Lord has departed from you and has become your enemy? And the Lord has done according as he spoke through me. For the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to your neighbor David. And as you know, you did not obey the Lord and did not execute his fierce wrath on Amalek. So the Lord has done this thing to you. Moreover, the Lord will also give over Israel along with you into your hands of the Philistines. Therefore tomorrow you and your sons will be with me indeed. The Lord will give over the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. Saul immediately fell full length upon the ground and was very afraid, because the words of Samuel, as there were no strength in him. He had eaten no food all day and all night. Boy, what an answer. And God sent him the answer. This is not going to happen today. 1 Kings, the 18th chapter. These people were gashing themselves, cutting themselves, and talking to their demons. And they weren't getting any answers, because God was in control right up on Mount Carmel this day. And here we have old Elijah. It said, took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord, Jehovah, all right, the word of the Lord, the bar of Elohim, and he said unto him, Israel shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench around the altar, and large enough to hold 2 measures of seed, about 22 quarts of seed, 5.5 gallons. And he arranged the wood and cut the ox in pieces and laid it upon the wood, and he said, fill the 4 pitchers with water and pour it over. In other words, fill the barrels up and pour it all over the burnt offering and upon all the wood. Now, you know what, Brother Euless, you've been up there in the woods on hikes and stuff. When you got real wet wood, you got a fire that won't start, don't you? That's right. And he said, do not do this the second time. And they did it. And then he said, do it a third time, and they did it. Boy, this is real wet now. Saturated. And water flowed around the altar and also filled the trench with water. Then it came about the third time, offering the evening altar sacrifice. The Lord Elijah the prophet came near and said, O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that thou art God in Israel, and I am the servant, that I have done all these things at thy word. And answer me, O Lord, answer me, that this people may know that thou, O Lord, art God, and that you hast turned their heart back again. And then fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that is on. This is water that burned. Water doesn't burn, does it? But this water burned. God turned it into fuel, into naphtha, distillate. And when all the people saw it, they fell upon their faces, and they said, the Lord, He is God. Jehovah, He is God. All right. And then we have here, and Elijah brought all of these false prophets down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. And Elijah said to Ahab, go and eat and drink, for there is no sound of the roar of the heaven. That's going to rain now. Now let's go back to the book of Genesis. Back to the book of Genesis. And let's see what we got here in this verse. And he kept on saying unto Laban, please, I beg you, if I have found grace in your eyes. All right? And now he says here, Laban, he answers, and he said, I divined. I consorted with witchcraft. I have consorted with witchcraft. In this little book right here, this Jewish Publication Society is the Tanakh. Say Tanakh. Tanakh, that's the Bible. Okay? This is what they say. It's here in verse number 27. But Laban said to them, if you will indulge me, I have learned by witchcraft, by divination, by Satan himself, by Nahash. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Laban was a bad boy. Laban was a bad boy. We're going to find out more about Laban all the time. Why do you think that God told Abraham to get out of there? Because it was full of witchcraft and full of divination and full of wicked spirits and evilness. This is Gesenius Hebrew and Chaldee lexicon. Okay? Let's look at this word. Nahash. I'm using the cow stem, an onomatopoeic word. Onomatopoeic word. Say it. A nahash. That's coming from the deepest part. That's a deep word. Nahash. To hiss. To hiss. To whisper. Especially used of whispering of soothsayers. The PL stem. To whisper. To practice enchantment. To use sorcery and witchcraft. Leviticus 19 and 26, Deuteronomy 18 and 10, 2 Kings 17 and 17 and 21 and verse 6, and all the places in Acts 16 and 16 in the New Testament. Some understand this of ophimantee, a divination of by serpents. Serpents, they say, deceive and they hiss and hypnotize their prey. This woman in the book of Genesis in that garden was hypnotized by the hissing of the Nahash. To augur, to forebode, to divine. Onesomai, mantuomene. Ahab's words, enchantment, augury, the serpent of Genesis. So called from its hissing, hiss, Genesis 3:1, Exodus 4:3, and 7:15. 2 Kings 18 and verse 14. 1 Kings 28. Use of the constellation of the snake, of the Pythona in heaven, the great snake. Nahash. It talks about the copper serpent in the wilderness. The copper serpent in the wilderness. Nahashon. You know what this is? You got it figured out now? We could have looked over it. We could have said, I learned by divination. But how did Laban learn? When Rachel and them took off, what did she take with him? The family gods. The teraphim. The family gods, because they were worshiping their ancestors. Ancestor worship. Ancestor worship as in Buddhism. Ancestor worship had even caught on in the Americas with the American Indians in some places. Ancestor worship. Ancestor worship. I have divined by the dark spiritual reign, by devils, by snakes, by the great whisperer, that God, He has blessed me, Jehovah, because of you. (30 in verse 28). 30 in verse 28. Wayomer, Nakiva, Sekareka, Ale, Tue'etenah. And he kept on saying, designate. That word means pierce. Show me plainly. Write it down on a contract. That's what the word pierce means. Write it down. Write it down. Scribe it. Scribe it. Scribe your wages upon me and let me go. Let me give. All right? Now let's look at the... anybody got the Amplified Bible here tonight? Anyone have an Amplified Bible?
I think that's the one that was the app that John used.
What? The Amplified Bible? Yes, the Amplified.
I don't know how to use it.
Oh, okay, well, I don't either. Brother Abe, do you have the Amplified Bible with you? You got it right there. Will you come up here and read that for me? Yeah, up here? Because they're not going to hear you unless you do. Or you want me to read it? You want? Okay, let me. Genesis 30. And where we have tonight, where we've gone so far tonight. 30 and verse 21 through 28. 30, verse 21 to 28. All right. 30, 21 to 28. Just real loud now. Get right over here by the microphones.
21. Afterward, she bore a daughter and called her Dinah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then God remembered Rachel and answered her pleading and made it possible for her to have children. And now for the first time she became pregnant and bore a son, and she said, God has taken away my reproach, disgrace, and humiliation. And she called his name Joseph, may he add, and said, may the Lord add to me another son. When Rachel had born Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, send me away that I may go to my own place and country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know the work which I have done for you. And Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your sight, I pray you do not go, for I have learned by experience and from the omens in divination that the Lord has favored me with blessings on your account.
I keep on playing with the spiritual world, he said, and I'm aware that Jehovah has blessed me because of you, because I divined it by these spiritual omens from the dark side. Go ahead and read the verse.
He said, state your salary, and I will give it. Jacob answered him, you know how I have served you and how your possessions, your cattle and sheep and goats have fared with me.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Jacob's wages, 30 and verse 29, and we'll go home after that. Okay? Wayomer, Elah atah, Yadata et Asher, Abadatika, we et Asher Haya Miknika ite. And he kept on saying unto him, you have made known which I have served you, and what shall become, or what shall become of your cattle with me. You know what I've done. You've seen how your cattle have increased and everything else. He never took anything. He's going to tell us that next week. So we went from 30 and verse, what was it? 21, 30, 21, 21 through 29. All right. Thank you for enduring those hard seats. And I hope that God's Word has blessed you tonight. I hope you've learned something from it, because I'm going to tell you what, from the original languages, you can open up a lot of doors. And this door, I don't know whether you would have looked at it quite so well in any translation. When you go back and you look at it, I mean, even the Amplified Bible didn't quite get down there to the Nahash. But that is the term that we use. God bless you. Thank you for enduring the hard seats, and go out and do something eternal. Let's have a word of prayer. I'm going to turn you loose on the world. All right? You ready? Sharon, would you dismiss us in prayer, please?